At the outset, let me welcome you all to this seminar on AI-enabled gyro-stabilized gimbal cameras. This is a joint effort from the USI of India, the the organization that needs no introduction, and HC Robotics Hyderabad, a company born with passion for indigenization. To begin with, I would request Director General USI to bless us with his kind words. Let me introduce the DG first. Actually, he doesn't need a introduction as such, but still, Major General B.K. Sharma, Atisha Sena Medal, and Bard. He was commissioned in Sikh Light Infantry in 1976. He's commanded a mountain division on India-China border. He's been a faculty member at the National Defense College, a military observer in Central America, and military attaché in Central Asia. He has won 3 awards by the President of India and National Award for Nation Building by the Confederation of Educational Excellence in 2017. He specializes in strategical net assessment and scenario building for wargaming. He has visited about 35 countries and has been a member of international delegates on several occasions. He's participated in numerous international conferences, more than 29 of them, has edited 8 books and presented 30 research papers in various international conferences. He's also been a lecturer at prestigious military establishments, policy think tanks, and universities and literature festivals in India as well as abroad. May I request General Sharma to give us the beginning of the session. Thank you.
Thank you very much. I welcome Mr. Venkat Chundi, CEO, HC Robotics, Dr. Radha Kishore, Director, HC Robotics, General Sandhu, who has actually been the brain behind conduct of this event. Then we have other esteemed panelists, very senior officers from the Army, Navy, Air Force, been theater commanders, deputy chief equivalent, and participants from the 3 services and other stakeholders. We are very happy to conduct this event here at USI. And for those who are not well familiar with USI, very briefly, I'll say that we are 154 years old, tri-services think tank, established in 1870. And we look at a number of domains, particularly military heritage domain, work at international level. Then we also look at the skill development and capacity building, not only of the Indian Armed Forces officers from the rank of captain till 3-star, but also the civil servants, civil police officers, and also the diplomats. We are specialized in alternate futures. That means the scenario building and scenario gaming, which we do right from the National Command Authority level down to the war colleges. Besides that, we are dealing with the UN peacekeeping operations at the policy and doctrinal level. And lastly, we have this Atam Nirbhar Bharat initiative here at the USI, wherein we are bringing the designers, developers, manufacturers, and the end users, that the services on the same platform. So there is a cross-fertilization of ideas, and how do we sort of imbibe this, what you call the new niche technology in partnership with the industry into the armed forces, which is going to be a major driver of a military modernization, force structuring and development. We have collaboration with about 65 countries, but in the technological domain, we have partnership with ICRA, which is All India Council of Robotics and Automation, with India Future Foundation, which are basically dealing with cyber security, then Center for Peace, Cyber Peace Foundation. Cyber Peace Foundation is an international organization which works on cyber operations, and they conducted major events. And we are setting up a center of excellence together with them in the premises of USI. We also have MOUs with the IITs, particularly IIT Patna, and with IIT Patna and one of the foreign universities from Australia, we're doing on 20th a major event on deep fake and disinformation. Now, we are very happy that we are dealing with HC Robotics uh, because we know that they have something very substantial to bring to the platform, which is in keeping with what our focus is. Because if you look at the larger picture, that technology is going to be the critical driver in revolution in military affairs. And we know that one of our critical vulnerability of India is the import dependence on technology from other countries. And that's why we want Atmanirbhar Bharat to succeed, and not in silos per se, but isolated nodes of excellence. But we have to create an entire ecosystem of Atmanirbhar Bharat, in which right from the startups to MSMEs and the big level organization must work seamlessly together. We are also conscious of the huge imbalance between us and our principal adversary, that is China, in the technology domain. That they're far, far ahead of us. And if we really want to bridge that technology capacity gap with them, we have to work with a missionary zeal. So therefore, we do not want to work only with gladiators, but we want to work with organizations like HC Robotics. And what is important about HC Robotics, which excited my mind, that they are an MSME who received number of patents and also sort of awards, and they work globally in other continents and in India together with some major companies. And they are producing these, designing and producing these customized devices for UAVs, aerostate, electro-optical and AI-based image processing system, and this what you call, which have wide application in the air, at sea, and on ground operations. And their expertise in these gimbal sites and cameras give phenomenal advantages in the ISR domain, particularly in terms of, uh, these gimbal sites providing stability, precision targeting, passive observation, reduced fatigue, improved tracking system, and also ease of use. They are very, very user friendly. So I see that under the rubric of our Atmanirbhar Bharat initiative, there is a tremendous scope for USI and this organization to work together. So we will work and see that if we can sign an MOU or they institute a chair of excellence at the USI. So with these words, I am looking forward to very fruitful discussions ahead. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much. Thank you very much, General BK. I would now like to invite Mr. Venkat Chundi for a small speech. Little introduction about the person. He's got 2 master's degrees in computer science and business administration. He is the first one to use drones for stringing fiber optic cables in power utility companies. He was first to start GPON-based internet services in Africa. He has designed and built the engineering templates and specifications for multi-million-dollar nationwide fiber optic cable that we know as Reliance Jio. He is manufacturing in lightweight gyro-stabilized EOIR cameras and developed an AI-based product in object identification and semantic segmentation. He's also developed a near real-time 1K video transmission using AI-based image processing. I would like to now invite Mr. Venkat Chundi.
Good morning, General BK Sharma, Lieutenant General Sandhuji, and my dear panelists, distinguished panelists, and officers, my colleagues at HC Robotics and Merio. Thank you very much for giving the opportunity for a few minutes to talk before you all. Compared to the services you offer to the nation, we are very small. But at the same time, we'd like to bring whatever technology we can bring and help the armed forces under Atmanirbhar Bharat and manufacturing in Hyderabad. And we thank our partners at Merio France for giving the technology transfer for the gyro-stabilized gimbal cameras. Apart from gyro-stabilized gimbal cameras, we also do design and manufacture drones, uh, lightweight tactical graded aerostats, and all our gimbal cameras come with artificial intelligence enabled chipset inside. Therefore, our gimbals does the image processing inside the gimbal camera. There are no additional computers, wires hanging out, and this will give a lot of efficiency and also give repairs and maintenance will be at very minimal. Uh, we are also talking to few forces where we can start giving refurbishment or repair and maintenance of the gimbal cameras being imported. We understand a lot of pain is there at the service support when the gimbals, after like 5 or 10 years, they don't get much of a support from their OEMs or from the manufacturers. Being local in Hyderabad, we are just 1 hour flight or 2 hour flight to anywhere in the country. We are fortunate enough to got opportunity to work in with the Indian Army at a Pokhran range during July, August, September during the trials for do-off project and couple of projects with artillery. We are also closely working with Indian Navy and trying to put one of our gimbals in the Kolkata class ships to prove our ruggedness and seaworthiness. We are also talking to officers at Air Force where we can try to help our gimbals for the aerial surveillance and also do some passive ranging and active ranging capabilities. Talking to Coast Guards and for helping on the repairs and maintenance of the Elbit and other gimbals. There are great products, but being local manufacturers, we can provide more support. And what I tell to our team is we have our parent company Centillion, where we are spread out in 8 countries from Australia to US, and we make little money over there. But coming to HC Robotics, it is a purely research company. Myself and our partner Dr. Radhakishore, we are pumping in a lot of money in the research. And I tell to my team, like, even if one soldier's life is saved with our technology, that is more than enough for us. That is the goal we have. Therefore, it is not even though it is a commercial entity, making money is not the main motto and serving the nation. And at the same time, there is a huge opportunity at the commercial side with our friendly nations. We got around 150 friendly nations where we can start exporting these gimbal cameras and drones and other technologies with our partnership with our French partners. Our company is main research is in Hyderabad. We are about 50 researchers with 4 PhDs and about 10 IITNs, and we also have some research facility in US, Bulgaria, Netherlands. We bring different skill set and brain power from different corners of the world with our friendly nations and build a robust product based out of India. Uh, we are demonstrating today on the table our latest marine graded gyro stabilized gimbal camera. We have different versions of MWR, LWR, SWR, and adding artificial intelligence onto that. We also have some drones and gimbals at the reception being displayed. Apart from that, we are also working with trying to work with India Optel Limited and a couple of other defense PSUs, wherein we will be manufacturing MEMS-based and fiber optic-based gyros made in India for our armored tanks or for ships or submarines. Therefore, slowly we are putting our baby steps in building the competencies inside the country and be prepared for any eventualities, unfortunate eventualities. Thank you very much, sir, for giving us an opportunity, and I appreciate General B.K. Sharma, sir. He was very proactive and was kind enough to help us with joint research facility and with USI. We'll be starting your services with USI and try to address the challenges of the armed forces. Thank you so much.
May I now welcome the CEO of Merio, Mr. Remy. He served for 10 years with Boeing Defense, after which he decided to take matters to his own hand, and he formed a company only for the payloads for various UAV systems. The Merio is based out in France and has got clientele all across Europe as well as in American areas, and they are working on payloads for UAVs. Mr. Remy, please.
Slides. And let me introduce our company. Merio is a system, as you can see here. The company was created 10 years ago, and we provide a gimbal from 500 grams to 5 kilos, and we start development for biggest camera like 8 or 10 kilos. This gimbal is almost used for UAVs for now, and we're using also with the balloon and real aircraft like helicopters. We provide also video processing system. With this one, you can do mobile tracking object. We provide also the ground control system to control the system. We are located in south of France, close to Marseille. Typical application of our product is civil security, border patrol. We do also maritime surveillance. We are also in the oil and gas, and we do some gas leak detection. So with UAV or real aircraft, the flying machine is flying over the tubes, and we detect with a dedicated camera the leaks. We do also border patrol, and we almost in the defense area. We have something like 80% of activities in defense and 20% in security, and a few activities on the industry. So the beginning of the company was dedicated to provide such a product. As you can see, the 3-axis gimbal with dual high capability camera for power line inspection in South Korea. With that, we have the gimbal. We have the video processing system. We have navigation system and control system. Some customers using the full system, and you can put inside a real aircraft, and one guy is dedicated to control the system, or you can have only the gimbal, integrate yourself on the UAV, and do yourself the video processing. Typically, the platform we are using to install this kind of gimbal is, as you see here, we have also some ground vehicle application, but almost is a UAV application. We have almost three family of products, small one, medium side, and the big side with cooled core inside. For this model, we have dedicated electro-optic capability, and what we do, 50% of our customer asking us to integrate different kind of sensors. If you need a laser rangefinder or not, we can install the one you want. Some customer want only infrared camera inside, so we remove the daylight camera and we put the infrared camera. So we do 50% or a dedicated product and 50% we do on demand. We do also some standard integration. It means that the video could be directly used by defense system, and on the video you have all the information, position of the gimbal when you have the video, and the position of the target, what you are looking to. With our ground control station, you can have also some point of interest and ask to the gimbal to go directly to the point of interest. And we have also, this is typically used for oil and gas application. You can put some points, and the gimbal is following the path you decided to, and typically we put the path on the tube for pipeline inspection, and you fly over the pipeline, and the gimbal is alone following the tubes. As explained, you have the system on the left with the gimbal, with the video processing. We have also a navigation system, give to the gimbal all the GPS information and heading information. You have the ground control station on the right, and you can have between this cabling, or it means that the user is close to the gimbal, or you can have an Ethernet connection, wireless connection. This is a for system, and as you can see, more the gimbal is bigger the performance are. The best capacity we have is with the M25 here, and we have DRI for a vehicle like 15 kilometers, 6 kilometers, 3 kilometers.
Detection, identification, and identification.
Yes, detection means that you see something happen, recognize, you know, it's a vehicle or it's a truck, and identification, you said it's a friend, let's say, or it's an enemy. This is our activities. We almost, as you can see, fixed wing UAV. We also have a product on the rotary wings UAV. We also provide gimbal for the balloon and the tetride system. And we have some product with the ground vehicles. This is an example of ground land application. The gimbal is mounted on the vehicles, and you can remove the gimbal and put the gimbal on the ground if you want to do observation for without the vehicle. This is an example of where the gimbal is mounted. That you can see upsides, we have gimbals on the real helicopters, and on the left down you have UAV helicopters, and on the right it's a real aircraft. So on this application, there is one pilot and one person dedicated for controlling the gimbal and do the inspection. And this is a new product we start to develop with HC Robotics, and the product is here. You can see it's working now with the ground control station, and then after the meeting, you can take a look closer and ask some question regarding this system. It's a 8 kilo payload with the IO and IR capability with laser rangefinder and laser pointer. This product is dedicated for maritime application. Of course, we provide services, training, and assistance for integration, because a lot of people sometimes think that you only need to have flying machine, a gimbal, and you put the gimbal on the flying machine and you have a full system. In fact, it's not the case, and the integration is a real challenge all the time, because of there is on the UAV or manned helicopters or aircraft, you have a lot of system with a lot of frequency, with a lot of power, and the integration is it's not simple things to do, so we strongly give assistance on this. And this is some reference where we sell some products. The biggest customer we have is Thales, and we have product the the French UAV, French Army UAV. It's a 12 kilo UAV used by the French Army. Have a gimbal from us, and the full system is designed by Thales. We work also with the Airbus helicopter. We have gimbals on the real helicopter with Airbus, and also some other company almost around the world. We do 50% activity in France and 50% abroad. And okay, this is what we are doing, and we start cooperation with the HC Robotics 3 years ago, and idea is to go forward on the Indian market. And now HC Robotics is producing 3 models that we designed in the past, and they are able to 100% produce this product here. And the maritime gimbal that you see and that you have here is developed together with the HC Robotics. We provide some electronics and some softwaring, and they design all the mechanic and do the testing and also do the assembly here. So we hope in the future we will good success with this product, and this cooperation will be fruitful for us. Thank you.
We now move to the next phase of the seminar, where we will have a panel discussion. For the panel discussion, I'll request the panelists, the chair, General Balbir Singh Sandhu, Aviation, VSN, PhD, Vice Admiral A.B. Singh, Param Vishesh Seva Medal, Ati Vishesh Seva Medal, Vishesh Seva Medal, retired, Air Marshal retired Rajiv Sachdeva, Ati Vishesh Seva Medal, PhD, Vice Admiral A.K. Chawla, Param Vishesh Seva Medal, Ati Vishesh Seva Medal, Vishesh Seva Medal, Nausena Medal, retired, and General R.S. Panwar, Ati Vishesh Seva Medal and a bar, Seva Medal, Vishesh Seva Medal, PhD, retired. Let me introduce the panelist to you. General Panwar, who will be joining us over a video conference, was commissioned in 1976 in the Corps of Signals and retired as Commandant of Military College of Telecommunication after 40 years of yeoman service. He has commanded 2 logistic formations, an early warning brigade, and Armored Division Signal Regiment, and obviously the Military College of Telecommunication Engineering. He's got a vast experience in managing communication and electronic warfare systems and projects. He's got a noteworthy R&D work as well in sophisticated data communication equipment for tactical defense networks. He's an alumnus of IIT Bombay and MTech and PhD in computer science. He's also got the Distinguished Alumnus Award from IIT Bombay. He's the first defense officer to get this distinction. He's a distinguished fellow in United Service Institutions, and is also part of various international groups and experts working in AI-enabled military systems. Now introducing Admiral Chawla. He was commissioned in 1982 and retired as Flag Officer Commanding in Chief, Southern Naval Command in November 21. He's commanded 5 ships, including the INS Virat. He has been a defense attaché in Embassy of India at Jakarta. He has been instructor Navy at Defense Services Staff College, Wellington, and assistant CONS, Foreign Cooperation and Intelligence, and Policy and Planning. He's done the staff course in Royal Naval Staff College, Greenwich, and Naval Higher Command course and National Defense College. His MA in Defense Studies from London University and MPhil in Defense and Strategic Studies from Bombay University, where he is currently pursuing his PhD. He's an accomplished author, maritime thinker, and has authored a number of important books and documents on India's defense and foreign policy. Introducing Air Marshal Sachdeva. He was commissioned in 1981 and retired in 2020 as DCIDS, Deputy Chief of Integrated Defense Staff, and officiating Additional Secretary Air to DMA at Ministry of Defense. With flying experience of 7,200 hours and a Cat A qualified flying instructor, he has commanded AN-32 Squadron and has been AOC, Air Officer Commanding, of one of the largest air bases at Chandigarh. Amongst the other distinguished appointment, Air Marshal has always also been tenated as has also tenated a secretary to Union of War Book in RMs of Directive. He's done direct masters in management. He's also certified A project management by IPMA Switzerland and a distinguished fellow at I2P2M and is a certified management instructor by AIMA. The Air Marshal has been awarded Ati Vishish Seva Medal in 2016 and was also commanded by the Air Chief of Staff in year 2000. Talking about Admiral A.B. Singh, commissioned in 1983, he retired as Flag Officer Commanding in Chief, Western Naval Command after 38 years of service. He also has a distinction of having been Flag Officer Commanding in Chief, Eastern Naval Command. He has been Deputy Chief of Integrated Defence Staff and has been Chief of Defence Staff, Western Naval Command as well. He's been he's qualified on Defence Services Staff College, Wellington, and has won the Scudder's Medal for standing first in the course. He's got a master's degree on global security from Cranfield University, United Kingdom. During his command, he has commanded INS Veer, INS Vidyagiri, and INS Trishul, and also INS Virat. He has been Deputy Director and Principal Director for Naval Plans and at Naval Headquarters for and has been instrumental in setting up in the Directorate of Strategy, Concept and Transformation. He has been an instructor at National Defence Academy, instructor at Navigation and Direction School, Kochi, and Defence Services Staff College. Now let me introduce the panel chair, Lieutenant General Balveer Singh Sandhu, Ati Vishish Seva Medal, PhD. Commissioned in December 78 into the Army Service Corps, he retired as DGST, Director General of Supply and Transport, and has also served as DGIT, the Director General of Infotechnology. He has the distinction of being an international sportsman as well as an academician on the other hand. He has got an outstanding military professional experience, has been an instructor in National Defence Academy as well as Defence Services Staff College. He has done a Defence Services Staff College, Higher Command course, and the National Defence College courses. Despite being a services officer, he has got a distinction of serving both the Rashtriya Rifles and Assam Rifle, the crack forces against terrorism in India. On the sporting side, he has led the services and national polo teams and is presently a vice president of Indian Polo Association. He has done MPhil in defense studies and a doctorate in peace and security and economic development in Northeast India with reference to BIMSTEC. He has been a TEDx speaker where he delivered a talk on soldiering, sports, and leadership. Let me now request the chair to commence the panel discussion. Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. Firstly, at the outset, let me thank General D.K. Sharma, the DG, for partnering with HC Robotics to cover a subject which hasn't been spoken of much about. And in the beginning, it surprised me also, how can you put so much of thought and effort and infrastructure into cameras and stabilization? But I think as you go about and when you go into the details, well, this invariably comes as a subpart in major systems. The sky is the limit as to how much we can do. And I don't think anyone can say that you have mastered it. And it's also my privilege. Lalit, is General Panwar there? You could call him up if need be. Sir, are you there? General Panwar, sir?
Can you hear me?
Yeah. Sir, I can. Okay. Firstly, besides what I've spoken, it's I just wanted him to hear this. It's my privilege to chair such a distinguished panel. The three on the panel are my juniors, so I can throw my weight. General Panwar is one of the most distinguished out of us. We were cadets in NDS first termers when he was the ACC. And from that time onward, we always been in awe of him till he did NDC and we became a little more relaxed. And it is kind of him. He's really not well because of his bronchial cough and all. It is our NDC friendship that he's kindly agreed to be present, and we will make sure that he speaks the least and only gives expert comments. Right. So the situational awareness now, the present day warfare is not black and white. It's gray, it's hybrid, and preparation for war in terms of surveillance, in terms of your knowledge of the enemy, in terms of your situational awareness. This has been more than highlighted in the Gaza incident, the Armenia-Azerbaijan conflict, that the technology that you used, on one side, you can't be totally dependent on technology, but human beings assisted with technology will give you a much better situation as a start point for any conflict thereafter if it happens. And probably it will also prevent conflict because once you are aware of what's happening and invariably there's no knowledge that is not known to the enemy as well. So it's ideal for conflict prevention. And AI, you must be aware that the Prime Minister was chairing a conference on AI yesterday. That was more on the ethical aspects, which I learned from General Panwa. But we are thinking of the very basic thing. Can I use AI with optronics and with cameras and stabilized cameras for faster decision making and faster deciphering of what is happening? And to cover all this, we will have each panelist speaking for 10 to 15 minutes. I look forward to a lot of question and answers. And let me also tell you one thing. I am only a director of the event. I am BA from NDA. But it also proves that technology is no longer the domain of the technocrats. It's the application which empowers us to chair such panels with distinguished people on board. So I may request Admiral AB to speak on the current maritime systems in optronics and gimbal technology, challenges and opportunities. So he's our lead speaker. Maybe you can speak from here or the dais as you wish.
Thank you, sir. At the outset, I must thank the DG who's not here, Venkat and Gini, for your insights into HC robotics. Also thank the chair for providing some background and the wonderful introduction. It's always good to have a senior colleague and friend as a chair. So thank you, sir. Now, numerous advances in gyro technology over the last 50 years have ensured that the Indian Navy and the other navies as well have moved away from the use of magnetic compass, the basic magnetic compass, as its primary navigation device, and from mechanical systems for its weapon systems and surveillance systems to more accurate systems, wherein now you can hit the target with pinpoint accuracy. And I have seen this transition during my 40 years in the Navy. And with the advent of AI at the doorstep, I cannot hazard a guess as to what the future has in store, really speaking, in this arena. But I'm more than certain that AI will add significant value to all data-related systems through technology infusion. So that being given to this audience, I would like to say that modern maritime battlefield environment is characterized by the fast-paced operations, exploiting the tech advancements in the fields of situational awareness and command and control, finally resulting in the effective weapon on target. The requirements of the modern OODA loop, those of you who don't know, please read up. I'm not going to explain OODA loop. The requirements include enhanced, accurate, agile surveillance. That in all probability provides for a superior, accurate battle picture that results in timely and well-informed decisions. Thus, such latest advancements in optical devices with very high passive ranges, coupled with crystal clear imagery supports the OODA loop. Infusion of artificial intelligence would enable real-time image enhancements, which has the potential for further ranges, early target detection, sorting the databases, recognition, and identification. So I think we are on the right track. As far as gimbal devices have been concerned in the maritime domain, such equipment has been in use for very long, especially in surveillance systems and weapon systems. And the electro-optical devices have also been there for capable of tracking the targets. Now, the current Indian naval electro-optical devices, as we call them EODs, are capable of day-night colored black and white images, as optical as well as digital zooms. In addition, infrared search and tracking IRST devices have also been inducted into the Navy and have been deployed on a lesser number of platforms recently. And this substantially reduces the requirement of gimbal stabilization. So therefore, AI can apply independently to these EODs of all hues, types, and shapes, ranging from a camera installed on my platform. Further, it's my firm belief that gimbals for stabilization, application of AI are two different but complementary aspects and always need not be interrelated. This is for HC Robotics to take away. Let me give you an idea how widespread the proliferation of such systems is there in the Indian Navy on board subsurface, surface, and aviation platforms. And when I say the Navy, you can extrapolate it. Some of those systems would also be available on board the Coast Guard platforms as well. The Navy currently uses the ring laser gyros, which offers numerous advantages in both operation and maintenance as compared to a conventional gyro. With minuscule settling time, compact size, sufficiency of standard power supplies, and a whole lot of other benefits. And most importantly, very high MTBF. So that's one thing that we need to be careful. But I also want the HC Robotics people and others to take away that most of these contemporary weapon systems and sensor systems on board Indian naval platforms have embedded RLGs for stabilizing the antenna or the weapon system. Similarly, we have stabilization for a large number of optical, IR, and thermal sights and cameras. Now, onboard submarines, one has to remember that if you have to deploy a system, it has to have the minimum exposure time and quick look around features. So these are issues that would have to be dwelled upon by the research team as and when they progress towards higher end of the technology which can be deployed on board submarines. Now, there are a large number of use cases which are there, and it is possible to interact. And I must say that in the Navy, we have an organization called VESI, which does some cutting edge work. We have got also the naval headquarters and the field formations, which can guide you towards ensuring that your research and efforts remain focused towards what will really speaking help the Navy in the future, and you are not off track, if I have to use the term. Majority of aircrafts and UAVs in the future would be fitted with EOD devices. Now, maybe the naval headquarters can look at it and schedule a visit to one of our frontline bases, air bases, either in Goa or anywhere else, wherein the developers can have a first-hand view of what kind of systems exist and where there is a potential, what they can do with along with such systems, whether it's a replacement, whether it's a life cycle maintenance. So there are a huge number of challenges and opportunities. So let me at the outset say that whatever you do, there will be challenges, and I will list challenges first so that I end with a positive note, giving you the opportunity. So most of the naval EOD systems are part of a larger system, a weapon or a surveillance system. And therefore, whatever options are proposed should be capable of being retrofitted with those systems, because otherwise it becomes a vicious loop which cannot be sustained. Now, the developed products, whatever you do, must have the flexibility of being customized to suit the requirements from smaller platforms to larger. The size and weight has been brought out by Mario, doing some work, and there will be certain amount of adaptation required, which will require a finite amount of effort from your side, and it will be a spiral development model. So therefore, deep connect with the service, and which will require deep pockets as well in terms of investments to sustain that process will have to be looked at. Now, high MTBF is something which I have pointed out earlier. Associated maintenance protocols for hardware, software, life cycle support must also be addressed, including stocking of spares as well as overall inventory management. Now, implementation of advanced AI and stabilization technology may require significant budgetary outlays, and therefore positive cost benefit analysis must be assured. If you want it to be adopted pan Navy, if it is not cost benefit, the cost benefit criteria, I'm not saying it's got to be cheap, but it must meet the cost benefit criteria of being a Make in India product. So that is something which also needs to be. And separate action should be taken when we're talking of AI-enabled EODs and gimbal stabilization. I think these should be two parallel pillars of research, and they can meet at some point in time, cross-pollinate and do there. But I think there is a need. And last but not least, cybersecurity is the latest thing you've got to keep these systems, because your ability to put pen drives anywhere, connect to the internet is not feasible on board naval ships. And therefore, you'll have to deal with this issue as to how you're going to deal with cybersecurity challenges. Of course, challenges exist because most of our EO devices and optical sensors are of foreign origin. While some assembly has happened in India to Bharat Electronics or other vendors, there is a huge demand that this can be made in the country. But we'll also need to look at what all parts of that EO device are going to be. If you're going to make the shell only, then I don't think the Navy is very keen to do that. It has to be a value product which has to be made in India, and therefore there has to be a plan for transition of high-end technology within the system. The AI will certainly enhance the speed and accuracy of the acquisition process, the targeting process, and therefore it has much to do. Now, most of the problems that we face is that we do not have a plan for testing. Now, therefore, and the testing will require finite amount of outlays. When I come to all these issues, I finally come that there will be budgetary requirements for testing as well. So that is something you got to deal with, because if it is not factored early enough into the proposal, it doesn't meet the end goals. The Navy is also working independently. The vessel is doing something called a fast interceptor boat, which is doing a lot of work with the Goa shipyard, and as well as Vessi is doing some work on it. I would recommend that the team can interact with Naval Headquarters as well as Vessi. Now, memory systems for storage and retrieval of data for decision making, be it in terms of AI comparison or things like that, will have to be dealt with and have to be ruggedized if they are going to sustain the maritime environment. Similarly, onboard big data analysis capability would have to be built in, because the ability to connect to the net does not exist at sea. So these are some of the points. Of course, the time and cost has to be realistic, because for any product to succeed, I would say that besides technology, the timeliness and price of that product must also be kept in view. The systems, the Navy is very forthcoming in most of these solutions. wherein we can give you trial platforms, we can facilitate a certain amount of effort, but you know, can be on a spiral development model or it can be a finished product model. But there is, I would recommend, and this is what I told General Balbir, that you have to take a naval officer on board on a consultant basis or something like that, who should be able to tell you technically what is required and what is not. Otherwise, you may not be on the right track. And last but not the least, multi-sensor fusion is something which will finally emerge out of this. Because the Navy is already into multi-sensor, platform data fusion systems. So this must be factored into the whole thing. And before I wind up, I must thank the USI for the invite and of course wish the seminar all the very best. Hopefully you'll get benefit out of it and do well in the future as well. Thank you.
An advantage of a very hardworking panelist is that told me he spent a lot of time preparing this talk, and that too, he has no previous course knowledge in this subject, but this is the first time he is holding a seminar on the subject. Maybe thank you so much for a very elaborate discourse, and he took us through right from the stage of gyro stabilized to gimbal. In fact, I was asking Randy the other day, why do you call it gyro stabilized gimbal? Gimbal. Gimbal or gimbal? Gimbal. Gimbal. Okay, gimbal. So it took us a little while to realize that gyro basically in this kind, in the case of cameras, widely gives us the diagnosis, and gimbal is the one which stabilizes it. So it's a subject which is as untouched as that. And I think he rightly brought out from the times of compass to the modern equipment for navigation. I'm told even in the Navy, the earlier navigation officers no longer use their skills for navigation, and they use technology to do it. Am I right, sir? So the old timers are losing their relevance. So that is how technology is coming about. And he brought out a very important aspect of accuracy and speed. I think we are chasing these two. And related to this is also something which my experience is that these services always need security. You cannot go around using the internet and bank on it probably for your processing during combat. So he brought out all these aspects very well. Regarding the application of AI, that's something which will bring in more accuracy and speed of processing. And AB, thanks. The HC Robotics is already in touch with most of the institutions. Day before yesterday, they visited Western Naval Command, who have kindly agreed to permit them a trial on one of the combat ships. They are in touch with BEL, who are the main provider of this equipment to the services. And one thing unique that I found is they want to go exactly bottoms up, the user end up, and not prepare a product and then try and tell the services, see if you can fit in. So they're having a typical military multi-pronged attack going right at the top. And it is also realized that if you want to meet these services end, you need to have effectiveness better than the existing equipment at a cost which is acceptable to the services and with a very, very high indigenous content moving towards total indigenization. So these are very good points given by AB, and Remy is hearing all this. So he's getting motivated to transfer more technology and do manufacturing in India. And that has been the message that we received from various stakeholders. AB, thanks a lot. While I would have liked to have Air Marshal Sachdeva speak next, but Admiral Chawla, he had a commitment already. Again, on shared friendship, he's made sure that he comes here and we'll permit him to leave at a time that he wishes to. He's going to talk about problems of stabilization at sea and role of gimbal cameras, global trends in gimbal, and challenges and roadmap for indigenization. Over to you, sir.
Thank you, sir. Thank you, General Sandhu. Thank you, USI, and thank you for all of you to be here. I think it's a very important subject and a good discussion, and something which will provide cogent way ahead for Make in India. What I'll do is, and Lady Singh has given you an overview, and the first two presentations have really brought out what the products that are there with our company. But basically, what I intend to do is to start with a couple of things, practicality of it. General Balbir mentioned about the Navy moving away from traditional navigation, which used to use handheld sextants and charts, onto electronic navigation, which is a reality today. But it's also something that you cannot do without. And I'll give you an example. When I was a navigating officer during Operation Pavan in Sri Lanka, I was in a ship which was operating from Trincomalee. We used to sail out every night for a patrol off the coast of Sri Lanka and come back in the morning. And after about 2 months being there, the maintenance being what it is, the ships were old. All our systems actually packed up, in the sense we didn't have a gyro going, we didn't have a radar. The only thing that actually used to help me, both in the patrol and entering and leaving harbor, was the sight that the ships used to have. It had a rudimentary, because these were old ships, these are the Petya class of ships in the Navy. It had a rudimentary infrared system, very rudimentary, but combining it with the old night vision binocular and the sight, actually we could enter and leave harbor, and we could do all the functions at sea. So the sight's importance, the gyro stabilized sight's importance, and is much more. I mean, even if the gyro is not there, so I would say that the equipment that you make today should be something that is fail safe, because if you see even in the Ukraine war today, the advanced EW that's happening is ensuring that most of the UAVs that operate cannot use GPS. So finally, you are back down to your IR and the line of sight which is being provided by the UAV, rather than being directed through a GPS aided system or even the Starlink, because all that is being jammed now by both sides. So that's the practicality of it, which is important. As far as the utility is concerned in the maritime world, as Navy Singh brought out, it's in all three dimensions, because the Navy is operating in three dimensions and also in space. But I would like to bring out one factor, that in all these three dimensions, there is also a variety of platforms. So, bigger ships, for example, which have bigger sites which are related with either surveillance or connected to the fire control systems, largely of the guns of a ship. They are much more easier to maintain. They are mounted very high on a ship, where the seawater spray and the weather doesn't get to them that easily. The equipment is all in air-conditioned compartments, so it is well maintained. There is less chance of it getting spoiled. But the challenges will really come in the quantities that have to be produced, to be used, will really come on smaller craft. So I'll give the example of the Navy's fast interceptor craft. The first 15 boats we had got from France, and we have a Safran-made optical sight system on these boats. And they have been, after the initial few years, there have been a lot of problems in maintenance, because what happens is that the optical sight itself, while it's mounted on the top of the bridge, it's very low, just about 3.5 meters above the sea level. So when the boat goes at high speed in slightly rough weather, there's a lot of spray that comes in. Similarly, when you have the displays, the bridge is open, it's not really air conditioned. You have to keep opening and closing the door. So the displays go bad pretty fast. The operating system, I think Admiral A.V. Singh brought out the cyber security issue. The operating system corruption is very high in these systems due to a variety of reasons. The application software corruption is also very high. And the other problem is that the display tends to reboot all the time because of the high ambient temperature. So, the combination of the fact that the camera head is getting blurry due to moisture ingress being at a lower level, the operating system is getting corrupt, the high ambient temperature which is there is causing the system to continuously switch off. It makes the reliability after a certain age, maybe after the first 2 or 3 years of operation, it makes it pretty low. So I think if you really want to succeed in the Indian environment, where the water salinity is very high. I'm talking about the marine environment. The ambient temperatures are high. The sea states, particularly during the monsoon weather, and even in the other months, very often the sea goes up to about sea state 3. And the fact that the majority of these systems are actually useful on smaller craft, because on bigger craft you have got radars, you've got many other sort of enablers for navigation and operation and weapon systems. So I would think that this is where, if the company could concentrate on also, while you have taken a permission to fit this on the Kolkata class, I would recommend that you also go ahead and pursue fitment of this on a fast interceptor craft, which is the size, that you have, much smaller than this, of course, which will be fitted on those craft. And that would be something I think that would be really useful and would come in, because these are the craft that are going to be procured in larger numbers. In at least 100 to 125 craft are due for procurement in the Indian Navy. They will be produced in India because the current lot of craft are going to be decommissioned in a few years' time. They're already 15 to 17 years old. They already outlived their life. So there are a number of craft, and this, I'm just talking about the Navy. Similarly, if you come to the Coast Guard, they have a huge requirement for this smaller craft. And in the Coast Guard, this is a standard system now which is required. The other thing, so this is as far as the size of ships and the maintenance issues and reliability that we talked about, and the ruggedness, particularly from the Indian environment point of view, that I would like to bring out. The other thing that I would like to bring out is, as far as the utility is concerned, incorporation of the IR in this is extremely important in the marine environment. And this has got a huge range of applications. Another episode that I can narrate from my own experiences: when I was commanding INS Virat, we had the principal medical officer of the ship. He was an eye specialist, an optical specialist, not eye as eye. So he was doing a study with the infrared binocular system that he had got from the Indian Medical Council. And he just happened to bring it to the bridge at night. The night flying was on, the Sea Harriers had just landed, and he showed me this. He said, "Sir, this is not available in India because it was only for the experiment purposes." So that was I'm talking about 2009-10. It was a very high grade night vision binocular. And so I just put on my eye and I started looking at the aircraft on deck. And I found that one of the aircraft which had been fueled, I could see a drop of fuel dripping out. So it sort of fascinated me that I could see such a small drop sitting almost maybe about 70, 80 meters away, dripping down. And we actually found out that there was a leak in the aircraft, which a human eye may not have detected in a pitch dark night, which was a huge safety issue, could have become a safety issue. So there are a lot of applications apart from surveillance, navigation, but the IR system, particularly the uncooled variety, because the cooled variety will require a lot of infrastructure. So if you can make the uncooled variety as sort of high grade as possible, that is going to be a big plus in the maritime environment. And that has got a huge range of applications which can be taken forward in many fields. So I would just say that the application of this EO, gyro stabilized gimbal system, both the optical sights and the IR, is huge. The imagination, it's only limited by imagination. I know the companies, for example, Jal Sandhu was saying, is even doing the inspection of the transmission towers, the bolts, and many other applications which are there. This can also be done on ships. It can be used to, for example, inspect the ship's masts, because particularly on ships like the carriers and on many other ships, at some places you cannot access all the time. So in terms of maintenance requirements, it is very important that you have this. It may be a requirement to do it at night as well. So there are a lot of applications that are there, and I'm very happy to see that this indigenization and the introduction that was given by the company, that they intend to make this in India. I think this is a great requirement. So far, of course, we have been with Safran and Bell as far as the Navy is concerned, but I think more diversification will help, and I'm sure the AI-enabled technology that is going to come with it is going to give us another quantum leap in this issue. So with that, I would like to finish, and thank you very much for your patience.
Thank you, Anand. Okay, sir. ultimately, thing that he brought out, it be the competent man or the woman behind the technology, because with the current EW environment, you invariably wouldn't find everything happening the way we want. So that has been re-emphasized that there's a need for continuing to have your conventional methods, and yet second thing which again we found both in the army and of course Air Force through high-tech gadgets and Navy also, the ruggedized equipment. Because to have something working in a very, very air-conditioned, proper environment with all the power backup vis-a-vis in the combat zone is something I think which needs attention. And again, the issue of a bigger ship with more backup will give you less dependence on this equipment vis-a-vis something which is only this. And hence, the I learned somewhere in my tank tech called RAMD, reliability, availability, maintainability, and dependability. So the dependability of this equipment in standalone mode is something which probably the user will be very keen to go. And this thing about the aircraft carrier that you noticed, the air chief gave the same requirement that we'd like to see an aircraft taking off, have the details. So I think this is such a wonderful thing which Anil brought out, or you could see that, and if you can have that for day and night, I think it can add value. Another software that I learned about was that while the aircraft is flying, they get the data, and so that you are prepared for your repair and corrective action. So, I mean, AI and other technologies are endless in saving your time and effort. And how many of you know what is cooled and uncooled? So, this, we are all in a learning curve. So, some cooled, cooled is something which needs processing time for you to give you the images and other data. And uncooled is which is ready to use. So that also in the combat zone, I think will make a very major difference on how effective is your equipment. So that was the acquired knowledge by me in this short while from Anil, and it always helps to sum up. And if I can let out a secret, everyone wants to be last speaker because you pick up from the others, as we have to say. So with that, Anil, thanks. You can leave whenever your time comes. And may I now request Marshal Sachdeva lighten us on the application of, I'm now nervous, is it gimbal or gimbal cameras in Air Force and future trends, image processing technology and use of gimbal cameras. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. And like he said, he can throw his weight around. He did that for both of us. And I also had to do some research to get onto this stage. But not that I've not used these cameras, I've used these cameras. So that's why I'll be a little more in touch. First of all, we need to know the aerial platforms where you require, and I'm sure you're all aware of it. Looking for cameras, gimbal, stabilized, gyros, I'm not going to that. Looking for cameras for drones, aerial cameras, UAVs, we call them RPAs in the Air Force, aerial surveying platforms, military UAVs, aerial inspection drones, gun sites, security of good assets, ground assets like the airfield, target destruction. Even if a missile is going and destroying an incoming missile, I want to know whether I've destroyed it or not. So I want some kind of information, be it a camera or anything, to come back to me that I've destroyed. Otherwise, I'll have to send another missile to destroy it. And like Anil mentioned, and so did General Sir, that the landing and takeoffs are very important in the Air Force to be monitored. We do monitor all landings and takeoffs the way the ships do, or the aircraft carrier does. So we're looking for cameras there. We're looking for some information to come there. Now we've gone from mechanical gyro stabilization, which was pre-60s. We went into electromechanical stabilization, which lasted till 80s. Then we went into INS, inertial navigation system, which jumped up for about 10 years. Then we went into digital technology, which was still the millennium. Now we're going into an AI and advanced algorithms. This is where we are focusing on. For that, why do we need that? AI into all this is we're looking for enhanced precision, responsiveness, can adapt and to adjust real-time changes. That means change detection is also what we are looking from these cameras. It is not that just a sight, we're looking for change detection. I'll give you an example. Let's say we're looking into, there's no harm telling you, Naxal belt. If I want to see my troops on ground and Naxals on ground both together, it's very difficult from the cameras to find out who's who. But if I know the movement of my troops or some identification, like we put some metal detectors on the human beings which are on our side, and I know these are my men and these are not my men, then I need to know how they are changing, how they are regrouping. For that, the cameras are required, and it is happening. It is not that it is not happening, it is happening. So you need to go into that, analyzing all the sensors which a platform has. Let's say a big size, I will not say drone, a UAV, will have more than one sensor on board. Now you're analyzing the information out of those sensors to help the person who's going to use them, improve the performance. Obviously, you are required to improve what the primary goal is to reduce the sway and jitter. I'm looking for that, enhance accuracy, enable effectiveness targeting in various operational scenarios. I mean, I may use guns. If I have picked up a target, the drone is okay. It can actually stabilize and remain on that. How does an aircraft which is going at 1,000 kilometers do that? So that's what your, this thing will be more adaptive and respond to real-time conditions. We're looking for real time information all the time. Improved accuracy, precision in the end, enhanced situational awareness. Like I've given you an example here, reduced fatigue on systems. It's very difficult to analyze the pictures by the time you analyze the pictures manually the way we do it today, or even if digitized format, if you're doing it today. The storyline on the battlefield has changed. So we are looking for something which can help increase the situational awareness, optimize performance of the payloads. If one payload, like I've seen one of your payloads, is giving more than one item on board, obviously then my weight carrying is reduced. I can carry something else on it. Precision targeting is very important in military applications. You're going to help me there. Safe operation is adverse conditions. Weather, no weather, aeroplanes are going to go up. Now I've got to look down. I've got to identify things, whether you're going to use infrared, you're going to use normal optical cameras, or you're going to use some kind of a radiation from human bodies, or whichever way. But that's what this thing is. So stability for targeting, reducing vibration. Advantages I've already given you. AI is going to help me reduce the human interface into it, which you're going to. Now my problem comes up is data and security protocols. If you're going to do change detection, you might look for 1 million pictures to actually find out the change detection. You won't have servers of that kind, and I cannot go into an open cloud, the information which I'm looking for. So that's where you'll have to think about that. How do you do the data analysis which is coming in? Air Force is not going to give you data onto your platforms. There are only 5 or 6 companies which are actually holding the cloud cloud servers. We cannot go on to them. We don't, because we hold our own data on our own servers. How are you going to do that with the Air Force, Navy, Army? I'm not aware. You will require, like AB sir mentioned, that you will require domain experts who will guide you how to go about this into the Air Force. It's not that you are developing something which you're not. You are interacting. But somebody will have to sit there with you so that your research goes along with that person who's a domain expert. It's a large gestation period. Data security, like I said, cloud storage is not possible. Legalities of replacing the legacy systems. A platform, airborne platform, lasts for 30 to 40 years. In any case, we've got 2 platforms in the Air Force which have crossed 60 years also. But if I'm looking for a platform lasting for 30 years, your cameras do not last more than 2 to 3 years or 4 years or 5 years. They go outdated. So if you're going to be make in India, which is the requirement, how are you going to replace the legacy system? Let's say the system has come from Israel. How are you going to replace that Israeli system with a make in India system with the legal binding with that company so that our warranties and AMCs don't go up? That will be a big challenge for you. Otherwise, why will I buy it? I'll have to buy it from the company from where I bought the platform. Platform is there for next 30 years. But your camera needs a change every 5 years or 10 years. That's one thing which you'll have to think. And high-level policy formulation in this respect, whether it's a commercial respect or a legal respect with the military, is one thing which you'll have to see. You have to be confident that you're not going to get a cyber attack or an attack from outside because the platform is away and the data is being built somewhere away. So all that will have to be. We have seen our drone being spoofed away by the Chinese. We definitely be careful about that. We will not like our information to be taken away. And AI systems need not be made in a hurry. You require to hold on to it and get the correct things. And in the end, I like to say, yes, it's a good thing that you're coming up with Make in India. Please integrate with us. We require it left, right, and center, be it an airfield, on ground or in air. I don't know whether you, how will you penetrate into the aerial system, but ground systems where we are looking for, you can at least start ingress into the Air Force with that. I think that's what I can say. And thank you very much, sir, just for bringing us in.
Thanks a lot for this wonderful opening into the Air Force as to what all can be done. One thing that he's brought out and which we also find is very relevant is identification, friend and foe, not only the air. He brought out how on ground, if you do a change detection properly, you can identify between, say, an insurgent and a security person. And your requirement of sifting lakhs of videos. At HC Robotics, they are already in the process of a research on a 360-degree view and AI embedded issues by which not all videos are being given down for processing. You tell them that I need to know this detection of these equipment with your pre-fed knowledge. You will probably not have to process all the videos. So that's something which I heard the other day, which is already on. And we are all aware that the technology today becomes more outdated before it is even introduced in the entire service. So hence there is a need of wonderful point that he gave with the basic equipment, technology in the case of say cameras and stabilization, etc. You must have the ability to replace and upgrade. That's something which will keep your basic platform effective. And there's been a wonderful input on the air aspects of gimbal technology and the stabilization. Last but not the least, I request General Panwa to enlighten us on application of gimbal technology in the Army for surveillance and synergizing AI. He's an expert on the AI with gimbal technologies and combat application. Over to you, sir. I am aware that you won't be able to speak for as long, but we'd be very happy in case you can give us your inputs on this, as well as anything else in the field of AI that you feel for larger enlightenment. Over to you, sir.
Thanks, General Sandhu, and thanks also to the USI, NHC Robotics for having this event and having me over for this event. I hope you can hear me properly.
Yes, sir.
Okay. So, as General Sandhu, of course, said that everybody wants to be the last speaker, that may not be entirely true because by the time you come to the last speaker, the others have more or less covered whatever was there to be covered, especially as it's really a new area and a real knowledge and expertise of these areas is really being built up. So, and we've had amongst the previous panelists two senior naval officers who both commanded INS Virat, and I've got practical experience on gyro stabilized equipment per se and sites in particular, and details of maintenance aspects and integration into systems has been brought out by Air Marshal Sachdev also. So I will try to link it to the type of work which I have been involved in. In fact, I am not an AI expert in that sense. I understand the AI technology. The manner in which the focus of understanding that AI technology has to do with regulation of AI systems, and the way and why regulation is being talked about is because AI is clearly being understood the way it is progressing on an exponential curve, the improvement, the intelligence part of AI is going to transform the nature of warfare. And so, one of the aspects which comes up is fully autonomous or autonomy in weapon systems. And when we talk of autonomy, AI plays a huge role in that. And now, of course, these days you have the latest, let's say, you can say craze, or the latest issue which has come up on the international scene is the use of foundation models in generative AI, where things are moving in the direction of artificial general intelligence and maybe beyond that to super intelligence. Trajectory is very well there. Some people say super intelligence will never be achieved, but really speaking, the manner in which the intelligence quotient of AI systems is increasing, a lot of people have started believing that it is likely to happen. And so that's a different scenario altogether. Now, without talking too much futuristic, I would like to relate to actual systems and what we require. Since we've talked more about the Navy and the Air Force, a particular area of military operations, or which are more relevant to the Army, but they are equally relevant to the Navy and Air Force as well. So let me first start by slightly recapitulating, like General Sandhu uh, brought out the fact, I mean, the basics, why gyroscope and gimbal, etc. Now, as I understand, I mean, this is also my recent understanding of how the whole thing functions. Today, you have gyroscope, you have an accelerometer, and you have magnetometer. These are the three main systems which are in use for through an inertial measurement unit for stabilizing of the sites. Now, I don't know. I have not been able to fully listen to the technical presentation which was given before as to what is incorporated into the Merio sites. I'm sure the gyroscope is actually for the angular momentum, the angular movements, and accelerometer for the linear jitters and etc. in the linear movements, etc. And magnetometer we know is to do with the magnetic field. So these are the three basic instruments which are there for bringing in the stabilization to the sites. Now that's the uh, optical image stabilization, where physical movements take place to stabilize the site. And then, of course, I think one of the panelists also talked about electronic image stabilization, where internal algorithms, adaptive control algorithms are used along with digital processing. Things like frame cropping, warping, etc., come into play. So there's an electronic image stabilization also. These aspects are what are today used for stabilization of sites per se. Now, coming to AI part of it, we've panelists have mentioned how AI can help, would possibly help in improving this entire stabilization part. Certainly, yes, because AI is very good at, where a large number of inputs are there to do fusion. So when several the external environment, different types of sensors are there other than the types of three things which I mentioned. All these inputs coming in and on the fly trying to analyze, AI is good at achieving that and achieving an adaptive stabilization much faster than what mere mechanical means can do. So that's one straightforward application of AI into gimbal stabilization per se. The other aspects which are related, and I'm bringing out these because It has to do with a particular application, which I'll come to after I've finished this part of it, is to do with object tracking. So once you have a stabilized video feed from a moving UAV, it may be fixed wing, it may be a hovering UAV also, all of them will have raw feed would be unstabilized. So if it is stabilized through gimbal stabilization, through all the techniques that you just talked about, then you need to track the objects within that, because it is the objects which have to be targeted. So I'm zeroing in onto precision targeting and fire direction control. The one is, of course, the ISR. So the three primary applications or areas of application which we can think of related to sites per se is firstly ISR itself, surveillance and reconnaissance. Then you have fire control. So if fire control has to be done, artillery fire control has to be done. If you get all jittered images, feeds and all coming back to where the guns are, then of course fire control will be that much difficult. The idea is to replace the OPs, observation posts which are there, through, let us say, a UAV based affair, and a stabilized feed if it comes, which is zeroed on to your required targets, then it is much easier for operator assist or let's say the operator directed fire control to happen, which is how the artillery today functions. But that's only one method of fire control. What we are now graduating to is, and many people, almost all the panelists mentioned precision targeting. And this has to be related to autonomy in weapon systems. AI again is into autonomous weapon systems. So I'll link the two a little in a couple of minutes. So when we talk of precision targeting, now in precision targeting, it is the geolocation of the target which is really important. Now, when a UAV is there and it is stabilizing the input feed, the stabilized video feed of the area per se is the basic input for thereafter targets being picked up from there. And for picking the targets from these feeds as the next step, so you have to recognize it, there AI will have a role to play, and thereafter geolocating those targets. That means you have exact maybe centimeter or a meter level geolocation of the targets. That is the type of input which, if it is fed to let us say Excalibur type of ammunition or any other missiles, which is a precision targeting missile where you have to input the lat longs, so to say, the precise lat longs, the precise location where direction is not required. The missile itself goes and destroys the target. So it is this geolocation part which becomes pretty important, and I'll elaborate a little more on that. Before that, I'll come to a couple of other things. Again, talking of AI into gimbal sites and related affairs. So the other aspects where AI can play a role is in predictive control. Now, a mechanical site can only react to movements which are occurring, whether it is angular movements or linear movements. But AI is very good at prediction. So it can look at the sensor inputs and also predict as to how the sites, the direction in which the change is going. And in that manner can help in much faster reaction to what is going to happen. So AI is very good at prediction, and predictive control is one thing where AI in conjunction with gimbal sites can play a role. Then, of course, you have things like low light enhancement, which is obvious. Collaborative imaging. Now, if you have a large number of targets in an operational area, you could have a swarm of drones, which together, all of them using firstly at the first stage gimbal stabilized sites, and thereafter AI working on that and identifying the targets of interest in a collaborative mode. So that collaboration part is also something which AI would play a role in making it happen. And then, of course, you have intelligent alerts and analysis. So these are the types of various areas in which AI can play a role in conjunction with gimbal. Firstly, in the stabilization per se itself, like I said, adaptive control algorithms, which could be AI enabled. And then you have other related areas which could help in precise geolocation of targets for precision targeting through systems, precision targeting systems, which may be there. Now, talking a little more about geolocation per se. So, the manner in which it functions is you have the GPS itself, where GPS signals are there. So, that will give the location of the drone. How does it get the geolocation of the targets on the ground? So, what is happening is you get your sensor inputs through your Gimbal-stabilized sites, and then you relate it to an existing database. It's a three-dimensional database. You relate it to that, and then try to relate the location of the drone per se, which where the GPS location is known, and then you get on to the geolocation of the targets per se. So it's all a related affair. A raw input from gimbal-stabilized sites, a database, a GIS database, and then using all this and using mapping and geo-referencing algorithms, etc. Again, these could be AI enabled. You can geolocate the targets on ground and on the fly. It's not that there's a processing time. This is being done on the fly. There's also another technology which comes into play, that is the real-time kinematic technology, where you have base stations, because GPS related geolocation would, of course, it is improving with time, but depending on the number of satellites and how much we have at a resource, it could be down to meters. But with real-time kinematic, where it is based on base stations in conjunction with GPS signals, you could bring it down to centimeters, which will be real precision targeting would be enabled if we use this. So these are all related technologies which I just wanted to highlight. And so what happens is, first you do the GPS positioning, then you take the sensor data, do geospatial analysis, do feature matching with what is there on the ground, and related to the databases, do a triangulation, and then you get the coordinates out of it. And these coordinates are fed back into the weapon system, which autonomously can then engage the targets on ground. Now, having said all this, let us see how the manner in which the direction in which AI is coming into warfare as far as all this is concerned. I would like to relate to the Ukraine aspect. In Ukraine, today what you have, in fact, Air Marshal Sachdeva said in the Air Force, they call it RPAs. Now, RPA is remotely piloted aircraft. Now, the remotely piloted is quite different from autonomous. So the things are moving towards that's my cough coming up now. So I think I'll have to finish fast. So in Ukraine itself, there's already software available in drones which is passing back geolocation information. Now that may be limited. So this is one area in which indigenous technology is really going to help, because when you have not there was also a mention of jamming of your existing drones in the Ukraine war. For example, Russia has used jamming so effectively that there's an estimate that several thousand drones per month are being downed. Drones of all types, smallest to the largest, mostly small level drones. They are being targeted purely through electronic warfare. Now, if this be the case, so what does electronic warfare target? It targets firstly the communication link from the pilot who's controlling, so that communication link. And the second thing that is jammed is the GPS signal. So the technology which people are moving towards in the AI-enabled environment is to have autonomy in navigation itself. So somebody mentioned inertial navigation. So GPS independent navigation is one area which needs to come in. And if you have GPS independent navigation, then the GPS signal itself is not really needed. So GPS, the inertial navigation and other navigation techniques which may have to play a role together with the gimbal stabilized sites to ultimately arrive at the geolocation of the targets on ground. So that's the direction in which things are moving. And in Ukraine, the geolocation was being done, and all the remotely piloted vehicles will gradually become autonomous in their functioning, which is going to happen. And that's the direction in which we are moving. So, in a really an overview manner, what I've tried to bring out is that while AI has a direct role to play in improving the stabilization aspect per se, there are also many related areas which will need to function along with physical gimbal type of stabilization. That's the physical mechanical stabilization which are happening place to be able to firstly further stabilize and then after improve the images from those stabilized feeds, zero in onto targets, and integrated to autonomous targeting system, which are precision missiles, which could go up to, for example, I mentioned Excalibur, we also have other missiles, we have Pinakas. And so once these systems proliferate in certain armies, they've already proliferated, all this in conjunction, AI will have a big role to play in conjunction with the technology which HC Robotics is currently working on. And since this all has to come as part of the same package, it all depends on in which direction HC Robotics is moving. But I would say that if we can achieve this sort of an autonomous precision targeting in conjunction with existing systems, whether it be Army, Navy, or Air Force, it will be a real boost to our targeting capabilities. I'll stop there. Thank you so much for your attention.
Thank you, sir. I think you appear to be in a shade better shape than yesterday. You lasted much longer without coughing, sir. Thank you so much. And I think very valuable points given by General Panwa. One thing is the implication of AI in autonomy of weapon systems. This is a subject which has been spoken of very often. And also, something which probably wasn't thought of amongst our circle, predictive and collaborative control using AI, so that you have better targeting with the weapon systems, and also the fact of your geo accuracy with the vis-a-vis the application of AI, especially in terminally guided or pre-fed data based systems. It's been a wonderful input by him, and that brings us to the end of the discourse by the panelists. We are now open to questions. So if there's anyone who has any question, we will refer it for answering. We can't have no questions because it's very difficult for everyone to have understood everything.
I have also got a slight interest in AI. My question is to the company only, sir. When we are saying that this is AI-enabled gimbal, what is the AI? Is it involved in stabilizing, or are you talking about identification and classification of the images which it is capturing?
We have all the accelerometer, magnetometer, and the sensors. But the AI we are talking about is for identifying, recognizing, and detecting person, shape, boats, tanks, or different animals.
So, sir, I understood from what you were saying was the AI is not actually involved in the stabilization. Or basically, when you say AI enabled, it is only image classification.
Yes.
Now, if there is, when you're talking about AI classification, do you have a generic model already, or you will now specially make a model for what data you want to get?
Yes, sir. Yeah, it's been like almost 3 years we started doing the research on building our own algorithms. These algorithms are edge-based algorithms. What it means is like the hardware, the FPGA and all the electronics is inside the gimbal. And all the dations, recognition, identification, everything is happening inside the gimbal itself. We don't need internet, we don't need cloud, we don't need any data to go out.
Where will your model be? Your model
Inside the gimbal itself. That's the beauty of it.
You have the model.
Yes, sir. Yes, sir. Inside the camera, inside the gimbal camera.
I think there will be question.
Yeah, the processor is inside.
Camera would be transmitting the images.
Yes, sir.
Then your model is on the processor.
Yeah, image processor is inside, built
Then
inside.
And you have a generic model already ready, which is identifying that, because if you want to detect a fast moving aircraft,
yes, sir.
Submarine,
Yes, sir.
that is a different ball game from identifying a fish or a dog, or that you will develop specifically when we give the requirement.
Yes, sir. When there is a requirement, we need at least 1,000 to 5,000 images in different. Yeah.
Therein comes all the things.
We have some generic models, and any specific requirements are there, we'll build it.
And also now, are you specialized? What is your product? Are you specializing in gyros, or your product is AI-enabled gyro-stabilized camera?
Yes, sir. AI-enabled gyro-stabilized gimbal cameras is our specialization, but in certain cases, we are also building the gyros as a separate product altogether. Both FPG and MPG. Sir.
Can I also say something here? Sorry.
Good.
After you, Admiral.
I just wanted to be clear on this issue in terms of your partnership with the OEMs that you got.
Yes.
What is it that they bring to the table? They're bringing the gimbal sides and the camera they are bringing. You're bringing in the AI part of it. How is it working? I just wanted to know the work share in terms of how the system is working, because that will finally, the aim is to guide you. The aim is to guide you on the right track. So unless until we have complete knowledge of who brings what to the table, it will be very difficult. So I think there is a need to look at this issue.
Sir, as sir mentioned, the gyro stabilizer itself is a big technology to handle, and that's where the Merio brings us onto the table. And we have a joint collaboration of developing further, enhancing some more features for the gyro stabilized gimbal camera using AI and other ruggedization and testing certifications and all those. Therefore, the technology is brought by them, and actual development, manufacturing is done by us in India.
So this complete product is made in Hyderabad?
This particular one is from France.
Okay.
This is the first prototype which they built, and we'll be testing it, and next further manufacturing is done in Hyderabad.
So the lens, the sensor, the hardware, everything is going to be made here in Hyderabad, or
some sensors
will be by them, and something will be kept.
Yes, certain sensors are available in India, manufactured in Hyderabad and Bangalore also, but certain sensors are not available. We have to import from our few countries from Europe or Israel.
So the AI part and the rest of it is assembled from various.
AI and manufacturing, designing, and also making it customizable for the Indian Armed Forces.
Okay.
All those things. Sir.
Can I say something?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yeah. So firstly, it was actually was in response to the previous person who asked the question. I couldn't make out who it was. And I think a statement was made that AI is not used for stabilization, but only used for object identification and things like that. While I'm not an expert, and I'm sure HC Robotics can put us wise, but my understanding is that AI has a role to play in stabilization also. I mentioned at least one aspect which I mentioned. Of course, one was this adaptive control algorithms, was ultimately you're sensing through various sensors and reacting to that. So while the accelerometer and the gyroscope and the magnetometer are reacting through physical devices, the adaptive algorithms are reacting through software. And the other aspect of AI was the prediction part. So if movements are taking place in a certain direction, AI can predict those movements and have a reaction which is much faster or maybe preempt the movement. So that's my understanding. In summary, what I'm trying to say is that, in my understanding, AI has a role in stabilization as well as in subsequent image processing. So maybe HC Robotics can tell us. And the second point, which I just wanted to confirm, that your current product, which you're saying, does it include all these? What all does it include in terms of technology? Does it include, for example, we are talking of gyroscope, but does it include accelerometers and magnetometers also? Does it include let's say, the adaptive control algorithms? And does it have AI-enabled adaptive control algorithms? So what does your product actually have at the moment? Thank you.
Sir, sorry to correct my previous statement. We are using AI on image processing and image stabilization, not at the gyro level, but at least as we speak right now. Maybe in future we'll use it for the stabilizing the gyros also. And second question is like we have a variety of sensors which can be customized as per the requirement, whether it is LWR, cooled MWR, SWR, laser rangefinder, laser pointer, near IR. We can have a variety of sensors as per the requirement. And yeah, we have all the three magnetometer and the gyroscope inside the gimbal. So that's how we are getting stabilized. Right now, what we are seeing is a 2-axis gimbal. We also have a 3-axis gimbal. And in future, we'll be coming out with a 4th axis for the very high quality accuracy in stabilization.
Thank you.
First of all, like you mentioned that the AI is in the image processing within the camera itself there. Speaking from the ground forces point of view, not from the naval or air force point of view, ground forces point of view, which we basically deploy the cameras for surveillance purpose at the border. So that's a very welcome step if it is doing the processing within the camera itself, because it is going to resolve the processing time and the identification and everything will become really fast. So that is a welcome step. Secondly, I just want to know, since we have fronts, you are aware that, if I speak of the northern borders, how effective is your AI with respect to the Chinese features? Because as I understand, the other solutions which I have seen, effectiveness of the surveillance cameras for the identification in Chinese feature is very difficult. They are not as common as the other human species. I'll say, for example, Indian features are very unique and identifiable. The Chinese features are slightly difficult to identify in the camera. So how effective it is, what is the accuracy, and whether they have been tested. Secondly, since you have a collaboration with an second country, so like the speaker also brought out, panelist, the cyber issues which are there. Are there the MOUs which will restrict the sale of the sensors and everything to another countries? Because definitely, if I have got this camera as a adversary, I would like to test the camera for exploitation and cyber attack within my country also. So I would like to buy a similar camera and have my cyber policy basically for training purpose, that if I get capture and if I am able to hack into that system. So that confirmation will be given by the country that they will not be selling it to them.
Sir, you mentioned a very right point. Even one of the panelists also mentioned, like Chinese cameras are much more advanced. We agree. They are doing research for a long time. They're getting technology from ABC sources. We know the sources. But at the end of the day, we have a very strong competitor. Therefore, that will help us to run and meet the competition and build much more sophisticated, rugged camera, gimbal, and AI technologies. Number two, we are working with a couple of DRDO labs. We have started building almost 50,000 image library for the AI, so that we keep upgrading and building the library of different objects, persons, vehicles. Even we have got a lot of tanks from our Western friends and also from the Eastern friends. We are doing a lot of building the library in parallel. And it is a non-stop process. It keeps going on, and the users' requirements will keep on fueling more and more, adding up the algorithms, making them more faster. And one aspect we bring here is because we are the gimbal camera manufacturers, we get the raw images directly from the camera and process them at the raw state so that the identification, recognition, detection, everything are almost 20 to 50% more faster than the conventional method used by the JPEG videos. That is one research we have got a very good results. We can share with any of the forces. If they're interested, we can give a pilot at no cost, no commitment. We can give one of our gimbals for testing.
If I can add, what I saw in the research center, as of now, they're going in from the open domain. The researchers, and it is more for capability understanding and development for themselves. At this stage, I don't think there's any specific to A, B. It is whatever is available in the open domain. And if it comes to doing that, I'm sure there'll be inputs given which can be, first is ability to do it. And then only, I'm sure that can be tailor-made. Yeah.
Good afternoon, sir. I'm Commander Prince. I'm from Directorate of Weapon Equipment. My directorate has already been dealing with you with respect to equipment of VOD on the E-15 Alpha ships. So I have a question. We want to understand the collaboration is between you and the French company. Is it manufacturing in India, sir, or is it assembling in India? Why I ask this question is because this has a cascading effect on the maintenance aspect. If you are only assembling in India and everything comes from there, and when we have a defect, we come to you, you say you don't have it and you go there. And ships suffer, and I'm sure the same problem will be there in the Air Force and the Army also. As a Navy, as a services, and as a nation now, we are moving towards Atmanirbharta, and that is what we want. So, sir, I would suggest that whatever is the present state, and sir also asked you what is the work share, and you should bring that on the table. Whatever is the present state, what we desire as Navy and as services and as a nation is that it should not be at all assembling in India, sir. Say there are thousands of players in this domain. My directorate is the ISWG US Coordinating Directorate, and I'm the secretary of the Inter-Service Working Group. So there are thousands of vendors in this domain itself, and all of them are offering us the assembling in India. We are having this meeting here, sir, and I would suggest that it should not be for the French company also. If it is only assembling in India, it doesn't solve our purpose, sir. What we are looking at is manufacturing in India, including the key components like the LRF, the electro-optical camera, the IR sensors. Everything has to be manufactured in India and given by you, sir, including the technology. You should have the IPRs, and when asked by the government as per the contract, you should be able to submit those IPRs. And I'd like your comments on this, sir.
Yeah, thank you, sir. And these are very, very valid points. Number one, we are not assembling, we are manufacturing, starting from resistor, capacitor, including the body, box, everything we manufacture here in Hyderabad. And not only manufacturing, we went ahead and we partnered with them on co-development of some of the features. And we are also developing some wiper board. Right now, they are importing from another country. And we are making the wiper board and probably will be using exporting back to France. Therefore, not only manufacturing, we are also co-developing the products. We request officers to please visit our office in Hyderabad so that you can see everything in your own eyes. General Balbir Singh Sadhuji was kind enough to visit our office a couple of months back. And we have more than 50 researchers, including PhDs, 4 PhDs, and about 8 IITians, and from all the premium institutions. We design, develop, co-develop the products. And not only from the Merio from France, we are also seeking help from IRD, Dehradun, and a couple of labs in Dehradun, in Bangalore, and so that they also did some research. Okay, we can collate all this research and build a very world-class stronger product which will be serving different requirements. That is where we are leading. Thank you.
Anyone else? Okay, I think with that, I thank the panelists. Panwar sir, thank you very much for making yourself available to us, and thank the audience for being such patient listeners and keen questioning that I heard. Thank you very much, and with that, we thank you.
May I now call upon Mr. Venkat and Dr. Radhakishore to give a small token of gratitude and remembrance from HC Robotics to the panelists. May I request DG USI to do us the honor and receive the small token of gratitude and remembrance. Sir, center में Sir, now we are handing over the gift of gratitude to DG USA.
Stabilized. In our efforts for development, we were working with 18 Army Dog Unit, for which we have developed a K9 camera for the dog's visibility and passing it back. The first prototype is developed, and we would request the representative of 18 Dog Unit Avantipura to kindly receive the gift from our side. May I request DGSI to deliver the gift to 18 Dog Unit, sir. Thank you very much, everybody. Now request Dr. Radhakishore, Director HC Robotics, to give a vote of thanks.
Good afternoon. I will take the minutes. So, but first of all, many thanks to our new friend, Major General B.K. Sharma, Director General of USI, for having us here and hosting this event. And our, he's an outstanding personality for outstanding contribution. Thanks so much, sir. And at the same time, General Pawan Anand and Group Captain Samanjay Kumar for your support and for this event, for the successful event like this. And our own General B.K. Sandhu for guiding at every moment and supporting us in making this event a super success. And especially, I want to thank the panelists of the day, Lieutenant General, connecting from outside. Thank you so much, sir. At the same time, Admiral Chawla, Admiral Edi Singh, and Air Marshal Sachdev, sir. Thank you so much for contributing for this event. And I thank everyone, all the officers. In the last couple of days, we met several officers, several corps groups, and yesterday we met the Chief Marshal, the Chief of the Western Naval Command, and some of the DPSUs like IUL and MDL, and also top officials of the Ministry of Defense, explaining what we can do and all that. And our sincere thanks to our French delegation led by Rene and Noah Matthew for coming all the way to support this event. And the USI has been excellent support, and of course they have extended the invitations to several corps, several departments of the armed forces. And thank you so much for coming here in this large number. I think we have done a very successful event in our opinion, and our own staff and administration of the USA. Thank you so much.
May I now request everybody to please join us for a lunch. Thank you.